Imagine waking up tomorrow and you just aren't human anymore. Like you're a sword or, I don't know, a vending machine. Or, in the case of today's deep dive, a 7-foot tall, heavily armored skeleton with like a strict moral compass.
And a serious nostalgia for MMOs.
Yeah, that is the wild premise of Skeleton Knight in Another World. I mean, in a genre that is absolutely flooded with reincarnation stories, this show somehow managed to cut through all the noise.
It really did. And the big news bringing us here today is that after a massive hiatus, it is officially getting a season 2. Like, the first season wrapped all the way back in
We'll
2022.
give you in a minute.
It is so about time. So our mission for you today is to figure out exactly how this faceless, clanking suit of armor charmed audiences so thoroughly. Like, why were fans so willing to wait 4 years for his return?
Well, to really understand that loyalty, you have to look at the show's DNA. It takes standard fantasy expectations and just, flips them entirely on their head. Okay, let's unpack this. Because Ark completely subverts what we usually expect from this kind of protagonist. He's not some brooding edgelord, and he isn't a generic nice guy either.
No, not at all.
It's honestly like dropping a max-level World of Warcraft character into a beginner tutorial zone. But instead of griefing the low-level players, he just wants to, help them cross the street.
Yeah, he fell asleep playing a game and woke up inside his skeleton avatar. And instead of having this massive existential crisis about lacking skin, he just rolls with it.
He really does. He acts like
Well-
the most polite mercenary ever. He even deliberately hides his terrifying skull visage so he doesn't accidentally traumatize the locals.
What's fascinating here is how that laid-back personality anchors the show's dual identity. I mean, it masterfully balances two totally clashing tones. On one hand, you have this whimsical comedy driven by Ark's self-aware internal monologue.
Oh, and his sidekick Ponta.
Yes, Ponta, the undisputed champion of cute, fluffy spirit foxes. But then, almost without warning, the show drops you into incredibly dark realities.
Right, like Ark casually strolling into a hideout to save elves from brutal traffickers. Honestly, on paper, that should give you severe narrative whiplash.
You'd think so, right? But it actually works perfectly because of how they use Ark's sheer power. The darkness establishes that this fantasy world has real stakes and horrific cruelty.
Exactly.
But because Ark is so utterly unfazed and, well, powerful, the show doesn't wallow in that misery. It turns what could be a depressing grimdark story into just pure cathartic justice.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because the new Season 2 trailer shows Ark stepping out of that whimsical safe bubble. The new cast additions heavily suggest we are heading straight into the Holy City arc.
Which is a huge shift.
And I'll be honest, I'm a bit worried for Season 2. Ark is incredibly OP. Usually when a show runs this long with an invincible hero, the tension completely flatlines because there's just no real threat.
That is a completely fair concern. But that is exactly why the writers pivot away from Monster of the Week battles. Since Ark can physically obliterate almost anything, they had to, change the rules of the game entirely.
No, I see where this is going.
Enter the Holy Revlon Empire.
Right. Because, well, you can't exactly just punch a political conspiracy.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
The tension shifts from immediate physical danger to world-altering political machinations. It forces Ark to navigate diplomacy and strategy.
Skills he is completely unequipped for as a gamer, right? I mean, he usually just tanks his way through problems.
Exactly. This actually makes him vulnerable for once. Combine that with the deepening elven liberation plotline alongside the dark elf Ariane, and Ark is suddenly facing complex villains and heavy-hitting magical showdowns.
Showdowns that require way more than just raw stats.
Definitely. Plus, returning studios Kai and Hornets are animating all of this, so they are keeping that lush, fluid combat from Season 1 entirely intact.
So what does this all mean? Well, if you have ever felt the burnout of playing a game where you have already unlocked everything, you know the exact problem Skeleton Knight faces heading into this new season.
Oh, absolutely.
But it looks like they have solved it by forcing our hero to play a completely different game. Now, while there isn't a specific calendar date pinned down yet, the release of full trailers and cast reveals usually signals a release window within the next couple of seasons.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Season 2 is shaping up to be a mandatory watch, especially for any fantasy fan who craves world building and political intrigue, but still wants it perfectly balanced with wholesome adventure.
But before we let you go, there's a lingering paradox here for you to mull over. We've established that Ark is having the time of his life. He is an invincible skeleton knight with incredible physical and magical prowess, exploring a vast world and saving the day.
Right, he's living the dream.
Yeah, yet his ultimate driving goal is to find a way to regain his original human body.
It is quite the contradiction. Why would a gamer who is having the absolute time of his life as an unstoppable force be in such a frantic rush to become a fragile, vulnerable human again? Think about that paradox next time you wish you could just escape into your favorite game forever.